Alberta demands Canada's immigration cap at 1% of the population. Alberta is pushing back against Ottawa's immigration targets, demanding that Canada limit newcomers to just 1% of the national population. Provincial leaders argue that rapid immigration growth is straining housing, healthcare, and infrastructure. If you are interested in this topic, please pay attention and watch the video through to the end to get all the information. Please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. Alberta's Jobs, Economy, Trade, and Immigration Minister Joseph Schow has called on Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, to honor federal commitments to cap immigration, citing overwhelming pressure on housing, healthcare, and public services. The plea follows Premier Danielle Smith's recent remarks highlighting the strain caused by unprecedented population growth in the province. The provincial population surged by 204,677, 4.41%, from April 2023 to April 2024, according to Alberta's Office of Statistics and Information, marking the highest year-over-year growth rate in Canada. This outpaces the national average of 3.2%, driven largely by international and interprovincial migration. Danielle Smith's latest remarks on immigration. Over the past 3 years, approximately 450,000 newcomers arrived in Alberta, far exceeding the 50,000 per year, roughly 1% of the provincial population, that Smith argues is sustainable. In her recent on August 16, Premier Smith highlighted the challenges posed by this rapid growth. "We had an immigration system we were all so proud of because it was working so well up until the most recent couple of years," she said. "If we could just go back to having a more normal number of newcomers, say, 1% of the population per year, or about 50,000 people, we would bring down social tensions and be able to accommodate everyone who comes here." Smith emphasized that the issue is not rooted in anti-immigrant sentiment but in the sheer volume of arrivals overwhelming provincial resources. The 1% target Smith proposes would align with historical immigration levels that allowed Alberta to integrate newcomers effectively while maintaining robust public services. However, the current influx 9 times higher than the proposed cap has created bottlenecks in housing, healthcare, education, and transportation, prompting urgent calls for federal intervention. Housing affordability, a growing crisis. The population boom has significantly impacted provincial housing market, pushing affordability out of reach for many residents. A 2025 report from Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada notes that immigration contributed to approximately 11% of the increase in home prices and rents across Canada from 2006 to 2021, with more pronounced effects in urban centres like Calgary and Edmonton. In Alberta, median home prices remain relatively affordable compared to Ontario and British Columbia, with Calgary at $710,000 and Edmonton at $485,000 as of mid-2025. However, rising demand has driven up rents, with Calgary's average 2-bedroom apartment rent reaching $1,800 per month, a 12% increase from 2024, according to rentals.ca. The rental market is particularly strained in urban areas, where vacancy rates have plummeted to 1.5% in Calgary and 2.1% in Edmonton, per the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation. This scarcity has forced many newcomers and longtime residents into substandard or overcrowded living conditions, exacerbating social tensions. For low-income families, the situation is dire, with affordable housing waitlists stretching years in some communities. To address the crisis, the Wild Rose Country has ramped up housing investments. In 2025, the province allocated $203 million to affordable housing projects, supporting the construction of over 2,500 new units across Calgary, Edmonton, and smaller municipalities. Additionally, a $50 million investment in Airdrie's wastewater infrastructure aims to facilitate new residential developments in one of the fastest-growing cities. Housing starts in 2025 are up 30% from the previous year, with 38,000 new units under construction, according to CMHC data. Yet, the construction sector faces persistent labor shortages, with over 10,000 unfilled jobs in trades and related fields, hindering the province's ability to keep pace with demand. Healthcare system under strain. Alberta's healthcare system is another casualty of rapid population growth. The province faces a critical shortage of healthcare professionals, with a projected need for over 4,000 licensed practical nurses, registered nurses, and emergency medical personnel by 2033, according to Alberta Health Services. Wait times for non-emergency surgeries have increased by 15% since 2023, and rural communities are particularly underserved, with some areas relying on locum physicians to fill gaps. the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program has prioritized healthcare workers to address these shortages. In April 2025, the program issued 81 invitations to apply through its dedicated healthcare pathway, targeting professionals such as nurses and paramedics. With 8,397 nominations issued in 2024 and 1,353 spaces still available, the AAIP remains a critical tool for attracting skilled workers. However, the influx of newcomers has increased demand for healthcare services, outpacing the system's capacity to deliver. Emergency room visits have risen by 8% since 2023, and primary care access remains a challenge, with nearly 20% of Albertans lacking a family doctor. Smith highlighted the strain in her interview, noting, "Our hospitals and schools are feeling the pressure. We need to ensure we have the resources to support both newcomers and long-time residents." The province has invested $1.2 billion in healthcare infrastructure in 2025, including expansions to hospitals in Red Deer and Lethbridge, but these projects will take years to complete. Education and transportation, stretched to the limit. Beyond housing and healthcare, the provincial education and transportation systems are also buckling under the weight of population growth. School boards in Calgary and Edmonton report overcrowded classrooms, with some schools operating at 120% capacity. The province has allocated $500 million for new school construction in 2025, but temporary portables remain a common sight as enrollment surges. In 2024, K-12 system saw an additional 15,000 students, many of whom are children of recent immigrants requiring English language support. Transportation infrastructure is similarly strained. Calgary's C-Train and Edmonton's LRT systems have seen ridership increase by 10% since 2023, leading to overcrowding during peak hours. Road congestion in urban centers has worsened, with commute times in Calgary rising by 7% over the past 2 years, according to TomTom's 2025 traffic index. The province is investing $300 million in road and bridge upgrades, but these projects face delays due to labor shortages and rising construction costs. Economic benefits of immigration. Despite the challenges, immigration remains a cornerstone of Alberta's economic growth. The AAIP has successfully attracted skilled workers to high-demand sectors, including healthcare, technology, and construction. In 2024, the provincial GDP grew by 2.8%, outpacing the national average of 2.1%, with immigration playing a key role in filling labor gaps. The tech sector, in particular, has thrived, with Calgary emerging as a hub for startups and innovation, supported by programs like the Opportunity Calgary Investment Fund. Immigrants also contribute to the province's cultural diversity and entrepreneurial spirit. In 2024, 25% of new businesses in Alberta were started by immigrants, according to Statistics Canada, ranging from family-owned restaurants to tech startups. However, the rapid pace of arrivals has sparked concerns about integration and social cohesion, particularly in smaller communities unaccustomed to such growth. Public sentiment and political pressure. The immigration debate has sparked polarized reactions across Alberta and Canada. Posts on social media platforms reflect a range of opinions, with some users praising immigration for driving economic growth and others calling for stricter controls to ease pressure on services. A 2025 Nanos research poll found that 53% of Canadians support reducing immigration levels, citing concerns about housing affordability and healthcare access. In Alberta, these sentiments are amplified by the province's unique challenges as Canada's fastest-growing region. Smith and Schow have been careful to frame their call for an immigration cap as a pragmatic response to infrastructure limitations rather than an anti-immigrant stance. "It's not about closing the door, it's about finding the right level so everyone can succeed," Smith said. Schow echoed this, stating, "We need federal support to manage the numbers so our communities can thrive." The federal government has yet to respond directly to Alberta's demands. Prime Minister Carney, who assumed office in 2024, has emphasized immigration as a driver of Canada's economy but acknowledged the need for targeted adjustments to address regional pressures. In 2024, Canada welcomed 485,000 permanent residents, with plans to admit 395,000 in 2025, according to IRCC projections. Alberta's leaders argue that a proportional reduction in these targets aligned with the province's 1% growth goal would allow for better planning and resource allocation. Alberta's demand for a 1% immigration cap underscores the widening gap between federal ambitions and provincial realities. While Ottawa emphasizes population growth and labor needs, Alberta stresses sustainability and public services. That is all for today, in this video. What are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully, the information is useful to you. See you later, in the next video. Till then, take care.